Back with Bobby and JJ Radio. If you're just tuning in, we spoke with Mary Kieke, and we talked all about appeals, of appealing your taxes and how to do it, why you should do it, what are the pros and cons. If you miss any of that, do not be sad. You go to bobbyandjjradio.com, and you can be a fan of our show. Our SoundCloud is aired, or at least downloadable, on Mondays, and then our YouTube will be a couple weeks later, so you can see her beautiful face. And now we're speaking with another beautiful guy, Michael Amezquita. He's the Chief County Appraiser at BCAD, Bexar County Appraisal District.
Does that come with a badge?
He does. He has a badge.
It does.
Yeah, he does have a badge.
Secret decoder ring, too.
Yeah, class ring, yeah. Hey, he's been working with the county since 2003. He was also with the Cameron Appraisal District in 1995. I know that he was once, he went to Southwest Texas back in the day, I heard.
A long time ago.
Yeah, because for really good academic reasons.
Absolutely.
So, Mike, thank you for joining us. We have a lot of questions for you. So, how do you determine the value of a property? Because I know that's kind of your forte.
Well, it's not that difficult. It's not rocket scientist. It's not unlike a regular fee appraisal. We start out valuing the land as though vacant in every case, whether we're talking about residential or commercial. We then go out and apply schedules that we develop using the Marshall and Swift Cost Guide.
Say that again?
The Marshall and Swift Cost Guides.
Okay.
We go through there and we basically go and categorize every classification, every quality rating of home or business that we have in the county.
Sure.
Residentially, the easiest thing to do is simply take that cost number with the land and the improvement value together and do an analysis, if you will, of what the properties have sold for by neighborhood to determine an overall neighborhood adjustment factor, if you will.
Sure.
And that ends up being the market value that we end up mailing generally in April.
So these basic, I hate to use the word, but cookie cutter neighborhoods, they're pretty easy to appraise, right? Because it's a one builder. They have, 4 or 5 floor plans when they build. And so, if you have one of those floor plans and you live in the same neighborhood, they tend to go to the same schools, be in the same area, same zip codes, same commercial value near them. So that gets pretty easy for you guys. And you guys are pretty accurate on those.
Definitely the more homogeneous neighborhoods
Homogeneous is probably
are going to be
cutter,
much more easily to value, if you will.
But if you go into the Timberwood Parks and some of the other custom neighborhoods, it gets a little bit more difficult, right?
It gets a little more dicey. I mean, in Timberwood Parks, you even have competing counties because part of it's in Comal County, part of it's in Bexar County.
Sure.
We all know which the better county is.
Of course.
At any rate, that's still out there. Frio.
No. Okay.
Or where are you from, Webb?
The one in New York, I just don't remember it.
Yeah, you got nothing. So those are a little bit more, it's just harder for you guys because you have to maybe go back or go outside of the regular area.
They're harder. They tend to be more custom type neighborhoods, if you will. And as you go up the echelon and down the echelon, at both extremes, it's more difficult to value those properties. On the lower end, there tends to be fewer transactions, older homeowners, less turnover, more inner city neighborhoods. In the higher end, we have plenty of sales. We don't oftentimes get those sales on the extreme higher end.
Sure.
And so that makes it more difficult to value those properties.
One of the things I was wondering is in these higher end neighborhoods, like say in Alamo Heights, I've noticed that it's not uncommon for a home to sell 10 to 20% above assessed value, where in the rougher neighborhoods, sometimes they even sell below market value is below assessed value.
Sure. That phenomena is just really, it's all about the market. Sure. And quite unfortunately, when people go to sell lower end homes, there's a lot less information even for the realtors themselves that are accustomed to dealing with those neighborhoods to make an accurate assessment of what they should list that property for.
Sure.
In the more affluent neighborhoods, in the higher priced home neighborhoods, for reasons previously discussed, we're always trailing the market. And quite honestly, there just aren't as many sales available to us in those higher end ranges.
So how do you guys know when people made improvements to their properties?
Well,
besides the drones that Mary
Facebook. It's all Facebook.
Facebook is their main source.
Yeah, John put new wood floors and
that makes sense. That's probably a good way to do that.
I really like it when neighbors rat each other out. And that happens all the time.
Oh yeah.
But generally speaking, it's through either on-site inspections. We've had an inspection request from a taxpayer, or someone literally turned in their neighbor, or we get building permits. And if we have a substantial building permit where it looks like they've changed their footprint, made an addition, done something other than maintenance, then we'll send appraisers.
But you're not texting people on like a new roof or fixing your rotted out wood siding or anything?
Gosh, no. Thanks for saying that. We also don't just raise your value simply because you added some paint to your house.
Yeah, because people, they don't do that because they're like, oh, I don't want the tax man to come and say no. But you're like, you guys, do not care about regular maintenance. You're looking for another wing on the house, a pool.
That's correct.
A mother-in-law suite, something that's gonna like really
a dungeon.
A dungeon.
There you go.
Yeah, and do you?
Those are hard to find.
I know those are rare in the MLS. Do you guys expect values to go up or down or remain the same in 2015?
I'm told values are going to go up quite a bit this year. And so residentially, I know, I don't know exactly what the percentages are, but I know Mary has gone on record as saying that commercial value will go up even more than residential values.
So the commercial is looking to go up a little bit, you think, in 2015?
Absolutely.
If you're just joining us, we're speaking with Michael Amezquita. He is the Chief Appraiser at the Bexar County Appraisal District. We're speaking everything values and assessments here in the Bexar County area, the San Antonio metro area that we talked to. So I did a little research, and so when we're just talking about commercial property, do you think that right now the commercial values are being assessed the way that they should? Because I know that they tend to be a little,
I don't believe they're assessed where they need to be.
No,
We've
they
had
don't.
that conversation.
Have we? I get. The days run into each other, and then I forget who I talked to when.
Yeah,
But from my research, I realized that they don't get taxed the same way that homeowners do because, like Bobby and I are homeowners, and we don't have a fleet of lawyers
right
to represent us when our tax bill comes in.
Sure.
But some hotels and some commercial conglomerates, they definitely do have a fleet of lawyers that can.
Quite honestly, we have a system for appeals in Texas that we refer to as equal and uniform appeals.
Sure.
And in the Texas Constitution, it requires that values be in proportion to their value,
sure,
market value. But it also has a line following that says taxes shall be equal and uniform. Well, several years ago, that phrase was hijacked
sure,
and inserted into the Texas Property Tax Code as a form of appeal. And unfortunately, I say hijacked because I have a very dim view of what the actual outcome of a equal and uniform appeal is. I think it actually creates inequity in the system.
Sure.
And while I think everybody's value should be based on market value, equity in no way is tied to market value.
Right.
And so I could have, quite honestly, I think being very kind to myself, by the time the appeals are over with, values start out very near market value commercially, residentially, and on personal property that's taxable.
Sure.
But by the time the appeals are over, homeowners, particularly in homogeneous neighborhoods, whether it's market or equity, their values are going to be fairly tight.
Sure. Very similar.
When you start comparing the very best shopping centers, the very best hotels, the very best apartments, the very best of every category of commercial property,
they're way off,
to property that's inferior to themselves, and you get down to that median level of value, they end up being taxed at somewhere around 40 to 50% of what they actually should be on the roll for.
Sure.
Is that loopholes and lawyers? And
That's not a loophole. That's a tax law.
It's a tax law. So right now the law is set up in their favor, and we just need to go out there and maybe vote or have some representatives that kind of look at it, everything in the homeowner's favor. Because right now, if they don't pay their fair share of their taxes, then the bill's kind of spilling out to us, right?
You hear a lot of talk during the political seasons
Sure.
about the need for tax relief.
Sure.
No better relief could come than in the form of making equity actually be equity and equitable across the board for everybody.
Sure.
If everybody paid their fair share, then homeowners wouldn't be.
Right.
My favorite word for this is scammed, right?
Right, absolutely, yeah. So the homeowners would benefit a little bit more if everyone's paying the same amount that they should. And, Bobby lives downtown, and so he lives and I can't live downtown because I have a son, and so its school district is very important to me, but I would never live downtown because their school district is not the best. The reason I feel like it's not the best is because everyone's not paying their equal taxes in that area. And so, yeah, something definitely needs to change. So let's get back to you, Mike. So I want to clear up your name. So does everyone at BCAD pay their fair share of property values here?
And particularly for the chief appraiser, if my taxes aren't paid on time, I can be fired.
Oh, really?
And so I have 60 days after the date that I knew or should have known my taxes were due and paid to get that squared away. So before January 1st, every year my secretary goes and prints out a receipt of when my taxes were paid.
And are you a commission-based employee? What I mean by that, do you get paid more if you tax me more?
Absolutely not. In fact, it's against the law for any chief appraiser to receive additional compensation as a result of whatever happens to value.
So you're not going to get a commission if you make this zip code pay more taxes, right?
Not at all.
So if you suddenly somehow cut my personal taxes in half, and I had slipped you a 20, that's illegal.
That's not only illegal, that's
It's
a
way-
jailable offense
And it's way too low.
for both of us.
And $20 doesn't
Okay,
make
what if
any-
it was $100 bill?
Wow. Okay.
They haven't printed the dollar bill that would be sufficient.
But
Awesome.
okay, I'll look for it.
Okay, well, Mike, I really appreciate you coming down and being honest with us. I know that. What's the best thing that people can do to try to get more information about, who or what should change? Where do you think they should start to look?
Well, here again, like I said, equity should be the same thing for everybody. Everybody should pay on their actual market value.
Sure.
I think that the main thing that needs to happen is the legislature should address equity appeals by reattaching it, if you will, to market value, and
Gotcha.
simply saying that no matter what your equity appeal results in, it can't be less than 90% of the determined market value.
Sure, and that would kind of even the playing field.
Everybody's entitled to 10%. I don't think people are entitled to 50%.
That's awesome. Thanks so much, Mike. We'll be right back.